always easy. Every day brings new challenges, big decisions, and questions about life.
Watching Bulozi TV, the pride of Bulozi, broadcasting live to you from Mongo, Western Province, and this is Teens of Focus, a program where real teenagers talk about real challenges facing real teens. And join me as we discuss real issues affecting every teenager right here on Bulozi TV, the pride of Bulozi. And today the topic that we have is really interesting because, just like I said, we are going to talk about issues affecting real teenagers. I'm going to be discussing with teenagers who are going to share with you their experience and their knowledge regarding this topic, which is peer pressure and standing your ground. But first of all, the question you can ask yourself to say is, what is peer pressure? So peer pressure is the direct or indirect influence exerted by a peer group, be it friends, classmates, or peers of the similar age, and who can be encouraging an individual to change their attitude, behavior, or choice, and just try to fit in it or to gain approval and avoid rejection. We all have gone through something like that. And my question to you today is, have you ever felt pushed to do something just to fit in? And even when you know to say this is something that is wrong, have anyone ever pushed you to do that thing? That's where we come in now. And remember, peer pressure can happen anytime, anywhere, be it at school, at parties, church, and even among close friends. Today with me here, I'm joined by beautiful three teenagers who I'm going to allow to introduce themselves. I'm going to start with you. What's your name?
I am Emmanuel Kayanda from 2B, from Village of Hope School.
Okay, interesting, Emmanuel. And you, madam, there?
My name is Lindia Chikwembe. I am grade 10, coming from the school of Village of Hope.
Okay, Lindiwe. Lastly there, madam?
I'm Yamakama Kokwa. I'm in grade 4, coming from Village of Hope.
Okay, so these are the teenagers that I'm going to be interacting with. We are going to talk about peer pressure and standing your grounds. Why do you need to stand your grounds? We're all coming from there. We've all faced peer pressure, and it's something that happens during that particular age. From the age of 13 to 19, we've faced a lot of things, be it at school, church, even sometimes at home. And my first question to you is, what does peer pressure mean to you in your everyday life? I'll start with you, Emmanuel.
I'll just say what peer pressure means to you in your everyday life. I'll just say it means that it's the influence given to you by your friends depending on their behavior, either positive or negative. So, and peer pressure can happen to you anywhere. It can happen to you at school, at home, with your friends. Yes.
Interesting. How about you, Lindy?
The way I understand peer pressure, this is the direct or the indirect influence which is exerted by a certain group on you in order to change your behaviors and habits so that you can fit in that group.
Okay, lastly, you, madam?
So the way I understand peer pressure, this is the influence that people of the same age group have on an individual's attitude, principles, and also actions.
Okay, interested. You have heard for yourself from your fellow teenagers what peer pressure is. Have you ever faced the same situation? Have you ever been forced to do something just to fit in? If yes, you can share your story on Bulozi TV just by texting or calling us on 0773-738114. Call us or leave us a message on our Facebook page, which is Bulozi TV. We continue, and the second question is, what kind of peer pressure do teenagers face today that you feel adults do not understand? I'll start with you.
Peer pressure, it's in two types. There's positive peer pressure and negative peer pressure. But mostly, which happens to teenagers, like continuously, it's most negative peer pressure. And to just specify it, I'll just say negative peer pressure, this is the bad influence caused to you, and then positive influence is the good one. the good kind. Yes.
Okay, you've mentioned of two types of peer pressure, which is negative and positive.
Yes.
What positive impact can peer pressure have on you as an individual?
The positive impact is by maybe you are being encouraged by your friends to study hard, like looking at your friends, they are doing well in school, and looking at your performance, it's a bit poor, and then it's pushing you to be good in school.
Okay, interesting. How about you, Lindy? Well, what are the common forms of peer pressure that you feel like adults don't understand nowadays? The common types of peer pressure which you teenagers of nowadays are facing, which adults do not understand?
Just adding on what my friend said, yeah, on positive and negative. As teenagers, we face such pressure from our friends. I'll start with positive. This is just when our friends, maybe they tell us to do good things and to improve in the way of life or the way we are, so that we may have a better future. And when I talk about negative, sometimes we may face that type of pressure whereby our friends are pushing us to engage in bad behaviors, to like smoking, drinking, and even engaging ourselves in criminal offensive crimes.
Okay, nice. I come to you with a different question. What forms of peer pressure do you face in schools, or do teens face in schools and communities?
So the forms of peer pressure that teens face at school, we have positive peer pressure. Positive peer pressure, this is the influence that your fellow learners have on you, which is positive, like doing things that are good. Like your friends can encourage you into studying your books frequently. So when you're encouraged into studying your books frequently, you might see that you are obtaining good results. And negative peer pressure, this is when it comes to the getting of a lot of food at school. Some of our fellow learners, they find that their friends are having a lot of things, they carry a lot of things at school. So the learners will be influenced negatively and saying that, how is my friend getting all those kind of things? So my fellow learners will start saying, no, even me, I want to also get those kind of food. So my friend or my fellow learners will be influenced in a negative way of trying to get food in a different manner that is not good to them.
Okay, interesting. I think you have learned one or two things from what your colleagues, your fellow teens have said. And as we continue, I'll come to you, Emmanuel. What are the consequences of giving into negative peer pressure?
The consequences into giving in to peer pressure, it can be maybe involving yourselves in criminal activities and doing bad things that may lead, like drinking, smoking, and inhaling dangerous chemicals.
Okay, come to you, Lindy. What do you think are the consequences of giving into negative peer pressure?
When we give in negative peer pressure, we might even ruin our own lives. Yeah, we can have diseases such as lung cancer because of smoking and other dangerous diseases.
Okay, and to you?
So the consequences of giving into negative peer pressure is that you might lose yourself. You might lose yourself by making sure that if you involve yourself into things like smoking and also drinking alcohol, you might skip classes frequently. That will make sure that you do not attend classes frequently, and you might obtain results that are not pleasing to your parents. So if you give into peer pressure, those are some of the consequences, like dodging classes and also missing tests, cheating into the examination.
Okay, interesting. And now we have talked about peer pressures and negative impacts, and that we have actually positive and negative peer pressure. I'll come to you just since in my preamble I mentioned to say everyone, we all have undergone peer pressure. Just give us a short story about you. If has anyone ever forced you to do something, or have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're facing peer pressure, and how did you handle that situation?
As for me, what happened is that my friends, like I had a friend who used to carry like a lot of food and stuff, yes. And looking at me, my background, my parents were poor, yes, and they didn't give me like a lot of things to carry. Looking at my friends, they are carrying like a lot of good things, yes. And then I went to him, I confronted him, and then asked him like, how do you get these things? And then he was like, there is something I need to tell you. And then he was like, I steal sometimes.
Oh, that's bad.
Yes, that's really bad.
That was really bad.
Yes. And then I was like, so that's how like you get things. Yes. And then like I did it at first, and that was bad, like really bad. And then what happened next was that the second day he did it, like he used to steal from his parents, and then like when he did it, he got caught. And then I realized that stealing is bad, and you shouldn't take into such peer pressures. Although yes, you can feel bad because your friend is carrying a lot of things, and looking at yourself, you're not carrying a lot of things. So it's fine, just like that. You don't have to pressurize yourself into pushing yourself. Yes.
Okay, so someone else out there who maybe they found themselves in the same situation where they have a friend who has encouraged them to steal and they gave into peer pressure. How did you find yourself out in that situation?
How I found myself out in the situation is by sometimes you have to stand your ground. I would just say standing your ground is sticking to your goals, beliefs and values, like things you stand for. Yes. So what you're supposed to do sometimes, like you just say no to the friend who's encouraged you to say that in a polite way, because like when you say it rudely, they will think that maybe you are looking down on them or something. So if you just say it politely, like no thanks, I won't do it. Yes.
Okay, you are watching Teens of Focus right here on Bulozi TV, the pride of Barose. We are broadcasting live to you from Mongu, Western Province, and you can take part in this conversation just by texting or calling us on 0773 738114. And the topic that we're talking about today is peer pressure and standing your ground. Have you ever faced peer pressure? If yes, you can hit our inbox, which is Bulozi TV on Facebook. Bulozi TV, you can hit our inbox or use the comment section to comment, so that we would also love to hear your story. Have you ever faced peer pressure? If yes, what did you do when you found yourself in that situation? And moving forward, we come to just give us your story about peer pressure.
Looking at my background, I experienced peer pressure before, negatively.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was in grade 9, I had those type of friends whereby they used to wear expensive clothes, nice things, which were very attractive, and it moved me. I asked them, is this the way you are rich? Like, is this the way you are living? They gave me a different answer than the one that I expected. They told me that actually their boyfriends provide for them.
In grade 9?
Yes.
Wow, interesting.
And I was like, why do you do such thing? They were like, no, we just like enjoying. As young as we are, we want to enjoy life. Yeah, and I was like, I think you should think before you take a step. Even though you're wearing such nice clothes or anything like that. And they started acting weirdly towards me. They started telling me, you're just weak. Yeah, you're not a good friend. Why can't you just do what others are doing? So they started pushing me, and I felt that pressure.
But did you give in?
No. What I did was I asked from my relatives, and they gave me a really good advice.
Do you mind sharing the advice with my audience?
The advice was, as young as we are, yeah, we can experience such things, but you should have self-control. You should be controlling the way you are. You should not be giving in intimidation just by maybe, no, I'm going to lose my friends. No, you can find other friends which are even better than the ones that you have.
Okay, interesting. And thank you very much for sharing your experience with the audience out there. We come to you. What is your story?
So my story is all about me when I was in grade 9. When we were about to write the examination, I had, I'm a good fan of hanging around with boys, because boys are very good. So,
are you saying girls are bad?
No, I'm not saying that girls are bad, but I hang out with boys. So it was, I had a good friend back in grade 9. My good friend used to tell me, like, Namaka, in order for you to be intelligent, you are supposed to be smoking. And you know, smoking is very bad. It damages your lungs. So I was like, how am I going to be intelligent while smoking? So, okay. And I said, okay. Because I also wanted to be intelligent. I was determined. So there is a day whereby we went at his place. Then I found a lot of boys were there also in the house. Then they gave me cigarette. And when I just started smoking, then I just felt like I was feeling dizzy. But then I said to myself, is this good? I asked them. They were like, no, just relax, relax. This is how it goes. That's slow, then the intelligence just comes. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll try, I'll keep on trying. Then from there, I was like, yeah, I've given into this peer pressure. And I was like, I went back home and my mother was like asking me, Namaka, where did you go? And I was like, mother, I went somewhere at my friend's place. Then my mother was like, this life you are going to encounter many struggles and many things, so do not give into those kind of things. And I was like, I thought to myself to say what I did was wrong, and I was like, no, I have to think for myself, not people thinking for me. So I looked at the consequences of me smoking. It would damage my lungs and all that. And I was like, oh, it won't make me to be intelligent. But what will make me to be intelligent is just to have to start my books, do all the things that are supposed to be done. So then I said to myself, no, I won't be doing that. And my friend came again and was like, Namaka, let's go do it. Then I was like, no. So you know what you're supposed to do? Just get your books, study very hard, and everything is going to be possible. So guys, it's not about smoking or doing anything. You just have to do whatsoever you think is right. Think for yourself. Stand your ground and be strong. You can do it also. That's what I had for you.
Okay, that's really powerful, Diana Waka. And we've heard they stood their ground. What about you? Are you ready to stand your ground, or do you always give in? But hey, you know, sometimes, just like Emmanuel said, he gave in. He stole once, but then he realized what he was doing is not right. But then afterwards, he said no to peer pressure. And also we've heard from Lindiwe, who stood her ground because she first consulted adults to find out whether going out with boys, dating at a tender age is nice or not. And just a little advice, be you. Wherever be you, stand your ground, know your worth. And we continue. We are in a digital world where social media influence everything. Now, my question to you, Emmanuel, is: does social media increase peer pressure among young people?
Well, social media does increase somehow in the negative way, because sometimes, like, you know, Facebook, right? And people these days, like, all of them are in Facebook right now, yes. And then, like, you post pictures on Facebook, yes, and then looking at your friends, like the way they are looking, like they're just looking nice, and they're just looking good. And for you, so what you're going to do, you're going to ask them how they're looking good, and then what are they going to do? Sometimes maybe they're doing it like badly. They're involving themselves in criminal activities for them to buy nice clothes. And you know, these days teenagers, they like too much fashion.
Exactly.
So it's very easy for them to get in peer pressure. So that means sometimes they have to involve themselves into doing criminal activities. That's why it's important to stand your ground. Sometimes say no, or just appreciate for what you have.
Okay, interesting. And to you, Lindy, where the same question comes to you: does social media increase peer pressure among you young people?
Yes, it does.
Why do you say so?
When you look at social platforms like, for example, YouTube, TikTok, and others, for example, we see our friend, maybe she's doing a new trend, and for example, she has gotten a lot of likes, and you're like, but why is it that me, whenever I post, no one likes it? So you start asking them, and maybe you see they are wearing short things, and you start doing that, which you're not even supposed to do, and it's not even necessary. And what you should do to prevent that, you should just focus on what is good for you and in your future.
Okay, interesting. We come to you, Namaka. Same question: does social media increase peer pressure among you young people?
Yes, peer pressure, that's that. Okay, social media also leads to peer pressure. So when we talk about social media leading to peer pressure, like for instance, we see a lot of people posting videos on TikTok YouTube and also Facebook. Like if someone has posted something that's very interesting, a lot of people will be liking, each and every person will be just on the phone scrolling. This time around we see that a lot of people are not doing what they used to do. They are just focused on their phones, scrolling. Even if someone interacts with you, you just be on the phone. So social media, the way it increases peer pressure, is like if someone posts something like very short, someone posts on something that's very short, and a lot of people do not like people who are putting on long things this time around, because fashion is very important this time around. When you do not look good, people won't like your photos. So if people see like this person has posted something, putting on something very short, people will be like, no, even me, I also want to be like putting on those kind of things. So social media also increases peer pressure, but we're not supposed to yield into the temptation of being pressurized by social media. So let us just stand our grounds.
Okay, standing your grounds, you have actually given your friends out there the very good advice that they need. We continue as well. Remaining time is running out, but I'm just remaining with a few questions for you. How can teenagers build a friendship that can encourage them positively?
That is whereby you should choose friends that are good, like you want to fit in a certain group, and then like when you fit in that group and then you realize that your friends, all of them are studying, like they are doing good things, you can tell from the others, like looking at the other group, like for example you are put in a situation by you have two groups, like you only have, there are the two choices, and then like when you're looking into this one, they go out, they don't study, they fail their tests. And then when you look at the other one, like they are studying, they pass their tests, and then that's where you go, because like they're doing good things. Also your parents will be proud of you, like I would just say it's surrounding yourself with good friends.
Okay, interesting. Same question comes to you, Lindy, where how can teenagers build a friendship that encourage positive choices?
Like he said, we should be surrounded by good friends who can distinguish good from bad, and what can make them to improve more, and they should think about healthy things, healthy habits, healthy behaviors, and things that cannot disturb others.
Okay, interesting. Coming to you, Namaka, you mentioned something about standing your grounds. Now my question to you is, how important is self-confidence in resisting peer pressure?
So self-confidence helps in resisting peer pressure in a way that if you're confident in saying something, like if I use assertive communication, if someone says like, Namaka, do this, I'll be like, no, thanks. And no does not determine that you're weak, but it says that you believe in yourself, you think for yourself. So if you are too confident, confidence guarantees everything. So confidence is the key to everything. Like if you say something with confidence, it means that you can do anything. You believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself if you have the confidence. Confidence guarantees belief.
Okay, interesting. There you have it. You've heard from your fellow teenagers, and if you have the similar story, do you have a story to tell? Just like I said, we all have a story to tell, because teenagers, the teenage age is the very difficult age to navigate. That's why here on Bulozi TV we have thought about it and thought that it is important to have a show that's just going to talk about teenagers, where real teenagers talk about real challenges that are faced by other teenagers out there. And since time is not on our side, last question to you all, and I'll start with you, Emmanuel. What advice would you give to another teenager struggling with peer pressure out there?
I would just say that they should stand their ground, not giving in to peer pressure. Like even though they want to fit in a certain group, but they should just tell from the group if it's good or bad. When it's bad, they should stand their ground and say no to their friends when their friends are pressurizing them to do something bad. Yes. So everyone who's reading me right now, I'm just going to tell that you should not give in to peer pressure and you should stand your ground.
Interesting. To you, Lindy, what advice would you give another teenager struggling with peer pressure out there?
What I can say to the viewers is that whoever is pressurizing you, it can be either negative or positive, but choose what is right for you. Always go for positive. And if you know how to identify peer pressure, it can help you to resist it. And always have self-confidence. and things that can help you. And also you should be surrounded by good friends, those friends who can encourage you by the time you need them.
Okay, so and the same question comes to you, Namaka. What advice would you give another teenager out there struggling with peer pressure?
So to my viewers, what I can say, let us surround ourselves with positive people. When we surround ourselves with positive people, it means that we are going to be like resisting peer pressure. Peer pressure comes either negative or positive, but let us choose what is right for us. We think for ourselves and we stand our ground. When we stand our ground, it means that we are confident in what we are doing. Let us determine our goals. We are here not to impress people. We are here to live our own lives. So let us not yield into the temptation of peer pressure. You are the best and you have to believe in yourself.
Okay, interesting. You have heard from your fellow teenagers and parents out there. I would encourage you to just encourage your children to watch Bulozi TV. If you can find us on TopStar channel 120, and if you don't have TopStar, worry not, because we are on Facebook. Just search Bulozi TV. That's why you are going to find us. And remember, you can also be part of this just by texting or calling us on 0773 738114 0773 738114. That's the line that we use on Bulozi TV. You can call us, text, or send a voice note, or even text us on WhatsApp. The same line is on WhatsApp, and we are also found on Facebook, which is Bulozi TV. And as we come to the end of today's episode, one thing is clear: peer pressure is real, but so is your power to choose yes or no. And remember, we all know to say standing your ground isn't always easy, but it shows strength, confidence, and self-respect. And do remember that the right friends will respect your decision, your choices, and will not allow you to give into peer pressure. You don't have to always try to fit in. If your friends care about you, they'll always leave you to do your things and do them your way. But if it's positive peer pressure, just give in. But know your ground, know your worth, and stand your ground. Remember to be proud of where you're coming from, be proud of yourself, and know who you are. This has been Teens of Focus with me, Kutemba Kamis, and from me, together with my panelists, it's a bye-bye. Keep watching Bulozi TV, the pride of Barose.